Alright, so what we just saw on the simple linear case, to find the zeros, you plug 0 in for y, add the constant term over, divide by the leading coefficient, and reduce. I get 5 over 3. The top number is a factor of the constant term. The bottom number is a factor of the leading coefficient. So this is a way that you can use to remember what order the factors are supposed to go whenever you're using the rational zero test. First you add or subtract over the constant term, and then you divide by the leading coefficient. So the leading coefficient is the one that's always on the bottom. Okay, so now all we're going to do is just use the rational zero test or theorem in order to list out the possible rational zeros. So remember, I need the leading coefficient, or the constant term, which is -6, all of its factors divided by the factors of the leading coefficient, which here is 1. So I'll just write this out as, for the c value, this one's my c, plus or minus 1, 2, 3, and 6. Those are all the numbers that go into 6. And then a, my a is 1, my leading coefficient is just plus or minus 1. So the rational zero test is saying I take all of these and divide them by all of those. So my possible, since I'm only dividing by 1 each time, it's just whatever the factors of the -6 are. So my possibilities are plus or minus 1, 2, 3, and 6. Okay, now this gets a little bit more complicated because now I've got a leading coefficient that is not a 1, it's a 2 instead. So here's my c and here's my a. So my possible factors for c, which are 8, is plus or minus 1, 2, 4, and 8. Okay, and now for my leading coefficient, it is plus or minus 1 and 2 because I'm factors of 2. So I have to take all of c and divide them by all of a. So of course I'm going to have my original ones because they're just all divided by 1. So plus or minus 1, 2, 4, and 8. And now I have to take them all and divide them by 2. So I'm going to add to my list plus or minus a half. If I divide 2 by 2, I get 1, which I already have on my list. 4 divided by 2 is 2, it's already on my list. And then finally 8 divided by 2 is 4, it's already on my list. So here are all of the possible rational zeros. So here's a question. Once you have applied the rational zero theorem like this to get a list of possible factors, then how do you use that list in order to factor the polynomial? Well, we know that if we perform synthetic division on it, we get an answer of 0 or a remainder of 0. We know that it had to have been a factor. It is also a 0. So that's what you do, is that you generate the list with the rational zero theorem, and then you verify them with synthetic division. I know it's going to work if I get a remainder of 0. So once you find one 0, now your problem is simpler. Like I take a cubic and I break it down to a quadratic. Now you either factor again or you use another one of those factors from the list.